Steve Cardenas, a.k.a. Rocky the Red Power Ranger, and you are watching SmarkTank Revilution.
All right, folks. So, obviously what puts asses in the seats and what everyone came to see, what we were talking about, was the main event. And there were some rumors before the card was fully fleshed out today for the match order that Dom and Cody was going to be the main event, which I get it. It's a hot feud, but listen.
Where'd you hear that from?
I heard that from not only, what was it? It was Cultaholic.
Cultaholic, okay.
Yep, which I consider a very good source. And what was it? Russell Work. Russell Work is the other new one that they follow. But anyways, they gave us the main event that we were supposed to have, the main event that everyone wanted to see, and it's, of course, the Bloodline Civil War. The Usos versus Roman and Solo. Okay. No titles were on the line, just pride, and this thing had an amazing epic feel. Had an amazing epic video package, first of all.
The only one.
The only video package tonight, but they brought in like the voiceover guy for like really give this gravitas.
Yeah, of course. It had perfect production. But before we actually break down this match and give our rating for it, do you believe, and as we were watching it, I made this I don't know if you want to call it a point. It is a humble opinion, which I believe is incredibly accurate. But do you believe that maybe Seth Rollins and Finn should have been last?
No.
Even though they were fighting, or wrestling rather, for the highest elevated belt on this card, you think that still should have been trumped by the Bloodline story?
Yes.
Interesting.
And the reason I say that, and I've been saying this all along, some things don't need a title. Yes, you were affectionately referred to the World Heavyweight Championship that Seth Rollins is carrying as the underling belt now.
Underling belt.
And there's not really an argument that can be made against that right now, only because, not because the belt itself, but because of how it's presented.
Yes.
It's not presented with super importance.
It is not.
I would agree with you if this was the Night of Champions crowning pay-per-view, that match should have been last against anything, no matter what.
Yep, I said that then too.
You're right then, because that was what the pay-per-view was supposed to be about.
Okay.
But this is the hottest thing in wrestling, period. We like AEW, we like all wrestling, but let's just face it. And I said the difference between AEW and WWE is right now, with something like this, WWE is putting on cinema inside a wrestling ring.
Okay.
It is hitting on all cylinders. It is 3+ years into this, and they are still twists and turns. You're not tired of it. The crowd wasn't. I wasn't.
Yeah.
If you've noticed, what are the matches that I basically jump off the couch for in recent memory?
They're all
Bloodline. Why? Not just because I'm a mark for everyone in it.
Because you're emotionally invested.
I'm so emotionally invested into it. Correct. And
okay.
that is to the kudos of everyone involved. And this is basically a tag match. There were no titles this time. There was nothing else other than pride.
Yeah.
And they did it so well.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, my esteemed colleague Joey Business, if you hear that bass baritone voice, not as deep as mine.
Never.
However, at the conclusion of this match, this man's voice went up to high soprano, contralto. You were elated. You were happy. Tell us why, and let's talk about this match.
We'll break it down after why I tell you. So the ending was exactly what it needed to be. I've referred to Roman Reigns many times as the final boss. And it reminds me of an old school video game where you weaken the final boss.
Yeah.
This was akin to Roman's now turning yellow and red flashing going into the next pay-per-view. He's not done, but he's staggering. He's on the ropes. And they went exactly with the storyline I thought they were going to go with. They tricked me a couple times, but they went with exactly what I said. I talked to Donnie off air.
Yes, he did.
And I said, they're going to go the route where Roman becomes unsure of himself, and it's going to present weakness to Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa.
Question for you. Did you see this in a vision?
No, I don't know. I saw it in the shower.
Did an angel come visit you and give you these revelations?
No.
Because you've been spot on.
I was very spot on. And I even was spot on to the point where Jay was going to get the pin. And I don't think I'm not spot on to where it's going to go next. But against all odds, with all the twists and turns, the false finishes, which were masterfully done once again, because they had me, emotionally invested and heartbroken a couple times. Jay finally got the pin on Roman, clean,
Yes,
in the
he
middle
did.
of the ring.
Yes, he
First
did.
time in 3.5 years, Roman Reigns has taken a pinfall in any situation.
Yes.
And the match, like the boom from the crowd, just shows you that Triple H knows what he's doing with long-term old school booking, because this is the salivating payoff that you're waiting for. Sammy and Kevin started it. This continues it. Now we're toppling the bricks to take down the house of Roman.
So you believe that going into SummerSlam, the narrative is now that, okay,
Main event
so
Jey Uso.
Okay, main event Jey Uso. Like, so you're breaking up the Usos essentially, right? Or,
I don't think you're breaking up the Usos.
But the narrative for Roman Reigns is that now in the last 2 pay-per-views he's been on the losing end.
Yes.
With today or tonight
Personally.
him being pinned 1, 2, 3. So you go into SummerSlam. Where do you go from there? You're saying main event Jay versus Roman Reigns for all the belts.
Correct.
So what about Jimmy?
I think what I said to you off air, I think you're going to get main event Jay with Jimmy as a triple threat. Not to break up the Usos, but to give Roman more of a back against the wall type of thing. And tonight we saw Roman say he put a tweet out prior to the match that he was going to stack him and pin him like he did Edge and Bryan. And he went for it in this match, and it was very believable that it was going to occur. And I said, well, okay, that's how it's going to end. But they smartly had both Jimmy and Jay kick out at the same time for the shock factor. And again, both Jimmy and Jay have toppled Roman so far. It hasn't been Jay by himself. It's been both of them working in connection. So I think you're going to have them put his back to the wall, challenge him for the title. Or Roman's going to go the crazy Steve Austin alliance route and be so butthurt over this and so frazzled that he's just going to challenge them both and try to prove his dominance. He will eke it out. I don't think Roman's losing until Mania. Still say Cody has his name on that title. I 100% will stand that Cody has his name on that title. But by the time we get there, I think Roman will be a fan favorite and Cody will be a heel.
How are they going to cross those two, seeing that Cody's on Raw and Roman's on SmackDown?
They'll eventually do it. They've done. That means nothing. They just switch shows whenever they want. They forget their own rules. You had freaking Rhea carrying around the SmackDown Women's Championship, referred to as the SmackDown Women's Championship, on Raw for over a month until they were like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Until creative said, hey, wait a minute. All right, let's stop stoning and let's listen to Joey Business.
That's right.
As he guides us through this hellhole that we've created here, and this contradictory, and these numerical errors, and these show errors, and the 11th hour changes.
Well, it's continuity is a big issue in WWE because Vince McMahon likes to make changes whenever he wants and fuck continuity, but we fans know continuity.
Welcome back, Vince.
And so does Michael Cole. Michael Cole knows every innate stat you can think of ever, and it's pretty impressive. But
what did you rank this match?
I ranked this a 4 count, man.
I ranked this
the same thing I ranked Sammy and KO versus the Usos at WrestleMania, a 4 count.
A 4 count.
Absolutely.
He goes over. And now you very rarely do this. So that means this match is damn near perfect. This is a Dave Meltzer 1,000-star match.
This is a 7-star classic.
I believe you're a prisoner of the moment because you're such a fan of the outcome and actually who got the pin.
So the thing is, though, yes, obviously you could be a prisoner of a moment, but we can argue that Gunther and Riddle put on a hell of a show and might arguably be, and it's yours, match of the night.
Match of the night.
When you put the whole package together and you put everything that's part of it, this match had to build like every great Roman and Bloodline match does. But man, when they get there, They paint you a picture perfect outcome every time. And for me, this is my moment of the year, tied with Sammy and KO night one.
WrestleMania.
It's just that fucking good.
No, I get it. I get it. I feel like out of all the matches on the card tonight, because we've been invested in this for so long, this has like the most gratifying payoff.
Exactly.
So, and the fact that they executed it very well at the pace, it was slow, then it picked up, and then we got the climax in the
hot
end.
Finishes.
So, and this is Roman Reigns putting on another masterclass with his facials. Even like what you alluded to. Okay, so eventually Solo Sikoa is going to be the tribal chief, and they hinted at that today
again.
And the analogy that you made with the wounded champion. Okay, this is like fighting. This is like Mike Tyson
punch out. Yes,
as he's aging out. So like you can see it. Everything was painted on here beautifully. I absolutely agree with your 4 count. I'm just saying, and I very rarely go over 3 counts. Like I would do that, but also the reason why I'm adding this match to be in my Mount Rushmore of 2023 is because of the backstory behind it. But as far as the wrestling, wrestling, in my opinion,
unequivocally, save for the last 5 to 6 minutes of the match, it's an average SmackDown match.
Oh man, even that's kind of harsh.
No, or an average monumental pay-per-view match. It took a while to get where they wanted to go, but doesn't every great Roman and Bloodline match do the same? And I started thinking about it.
Yeah, and the reason I think that actually helps it, because
I do too.
This is the only time at these premium events, because we're not calling them pay-per-views anymore.
Right.
That the premium events, they finally get the time that they need to tell the story and to paint the picture. The canvas is clear, and they do a great job filling it with bright colors that we all love.
They do.
One thing I will say, and this has nothing to do with any of the matches, since I know that WWE's creative, they're spying on us and they can hear us. And listen, I know you guys get paid for the commercials that you guys air, but I still want the pay-per-view feel, and I don't want to see any commercials on this damn premium live event. Just cut through some backstage segments, some backstage interviews. The amount of time that they use for commercial sponsors, we could have got those stories to be behind those other matches, with the exception of the women's Money in the Bank match, was absolutely abysmal.
Yeah, I think,
no disrespect to you women, y'all did your best.
We'll get there.
But yeah, I mean, definitely. But nevertheless, cut the commercials and let's get more time for these guys. Even if you don't have a promotion, even if you don't have a video segment, just let them do an interview talking about what's going to happen, so they can get us into it even more.
I honestly think it hurts the show overall and the performers that I don't know what the decision was to stop and do away with almost all the video packages going into a match. That's a great recap reminder to be like, hey, this is where we left off, just in case, and then it puts you more invested. Yeah. That's why it killed me with Gunther and Riddle. Like, it was fabulous, but I was like, what? How did this come about again? I forget how this even started, because you didn't have that recap, you know? Right. And to have Roman, the Bloodline, be the only one with the recap, once again, they did it at Mania too. Like, you're telling us, hey, this is what we care about. And it's like, I get why, but okay, you know.
That's why I say, if you were watching, and I'm pretty sure they played the promotional package in the arena, at the O2 Arena.
Yeah,
but if you're watching, I swear this is how they reel us in. This is exactly how they reel us in, because like you said, that was cinema on screen, and then it was cinema in the ring.
It just, again, it was like watching a movie of the year every single time. And I give them credit too. Like, the Bloodline has not run out of ways to innovate their storytelling.
That's very true.
And somebody can make the argument, and I heard someone make the argument. They said, well, the greatest, it was Eric Bischoff. The greatest wrestling storyline of all time is Austin versus McMahon. I am going to respectfully disagree with that 100%.
The greatest wrestling story of all time
Was Austin versus McMahon.
was Austin versus McMahon. I mean, I can understand why Eric said that because that was
the one that took him out.
Oh man, yeah. I have to respectfully disagree with.
And you know
Eazy
why?
too.
Because it lasted less time overall, the initial one, and it fizzled out quicker than the Bloodline. The Bloodline's been a very contrite cast of characters for 3+ years, very rarely introducing a new wrinkle and a new character. And they've been able to keep you invested over and over and over and over, and it doesn't get tiresome. Austin McMahon had some stuff that you're like, that's why The Rock took off and everyone else did, because you started getting out of it, and then they would go back to it back and forth. But it wasn't cinema. It was just, it's a spot fest. How are they going to top this?
I think for age demographic, it was probably one of the most relatable ones, because if you worked for an asshole boss,
right,
then that clearly, that triggered you.
Right.
But like, damn, the greatest, I mean, that encompasses a lot. Like the greatest. What was the longest storyline that you can think of?
This consistent, continuous story with no break, the Bloodline. And I'm gonna go with it's the greatest wrestling storyline of all time too, and it hasn't even finished.
Well, technically, okay, but all right. So how about this? Then if we're considering and we're just calling this storyline the Bloodline, then and that's the formation of a stable. So what other stables around? What other stables?
Well, you have D-Generation X. You have the NWO. The NWO would be a very long-running storyline too. Let's call it overall the NWO.
But not on this level.
Not even close.
DX, same thing. Not on this.
None. Level. There's nothing. What they've captured now is going to last for the next 40+ years. I don't see you going back to the well once this finishes and it being, as universally renowned when you try it again. Because, of course, they're going to try to capture it once this ends and Roman gets a well-deserved break. Also, can we take the time to give Roman Reigns kudos that he hasn't been fucking injured in 3.5 years?
How often does he wrestle?
Okay, but he hasn't been injured. No freak accident. Nothing has happened to deter this.
Look at the careful pace, which we praise.
Correct.
The careful pace in that he wrestles, I think, is very telling for anybody that's training in this sport.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan, I hope you actually have taken notice of this, that, you can't, especially the Bucks and all those AEW guys, you can't do those high spots forever.
Right.
And then you can have a great 4-count match.
Yeah, if 4-count all the way.
Without doing as many of the flips and the cutters and the dives. Roman did not want none of them.
No, he really didn't do the heavy lifting tonight, but he did the finish at the end, and he did the most investing part to sell it to you. Like, it was all Roman. The facial expressions he made losing was what sold and put this over the top. Like, this is going to live in, forever.
Absolutely.
So I can't say enough about it. It's my third 4-count of the year. 2 of them were Bloodline related, and the other one was MJF versus Bryan Danielson.
All right. Well, let's quickly go through this card to see what we
okay.
We ranked.
You want to work it backwards, Tarantino, or
let's do it backwards, Tarantino.
Okay. So the match prior to this was, again, great spot for it. It's for the underling world title belt, Seth versus Finn. This match had so much potential. 7 years, perfect written backstory. A happenstance. Finn did an emotional promo on Raw, which sold the entire thing, encompassed 7 years in 2 minutes, and that was brilliantly done.
And I didn't even realize that the 7 years went by so quick.
Yeah.
If I recall, because I know we write this down, that I gave this a 2-count, right?
You did. I gave it a 2 as well.
All right. So, the reason why, and the 2-count's good. Our bipolar rating system, even a 1-count could be.
But
good
you told me before, you're like, put me in for a 3-count, and you were like, nah, you know what? Let's just wait, because we thought that on paper this was an automatic 3-count. Seth works great with everybody. Rarely does he put a match that's under top tier.
Yeah.
They just didn't click for me tonight. They really didn't. It wasn't AJ Seth. It just didn't click. I don't know. It was good. It was by no means
It was
bad.
serviceable.
But it wasn't.
It was serviceable, and I don't think that what kept me from giving this the 3 count is honestly, I'm really not a fan of how they're presenting Seth with this title. I think that he should be elevated, and this is why I call it the underling belt, because they consistently put him in those underling ranks.
Yeah.
If you're gonna debut the new title, give it the prestige it deserves. This, and I understand. I mean, we discussed it. The Bloodline storyline is far greater. It trumps this. Yes, I agree. But still, let the champion get his just due respects.
And that's the problem when you do a brand split or whatever bullshit they call it. There's always one belt that becomes more prestigious than the other.
Right.
It takes a hit. In the 2000 early era, it was the world title that Triple H held was considered the top tier belt. And then the SmackDown title, which was the WWE lineage title, was like a nothing.
Yeah.
It was second fiddle.
Too many champions.
Same thing here. It's how you present it. And I know that Triple H wants this thing to be super important, but I think kind of what hurts it too is how it's how it's being presented. You got Seth running down to NXT. You got him wanting to take on all comers, but that's going to fizzle fast in interest as far as okay, Roman, when he wrestles for that title, it's a event. It's like an occasion. Seth wrestling for the championship on Raw every single week and then on NXT in the same week, it's like, this is a glorified Intercontinental title.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'll just wrap that up with this. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, I now understand you, sir.
Yeah.
I understand the logic behind
They're
it.
doing right by MJF with his, but we're not talking MJF right now. So on to the next, since we're going backwards.
The woman's Money in the Bank.
Man, there's so much to talk about here, and it's not good.
I'm gonna say I know you ladies tried your hardest. The problem with Money in the Bank matches, as we were discussing before, or before we started recording, is that it's really hard to monitor every competitor. Someone's always going to be off screen. There's too much going on. There's too many ladders. There's just too much stimulation going on for the brain to fully comprehend. And in this case, I just didn't feel like it worked well it did not work well.
All
with the
execution
women.
was awful.
The announcer had Bailey as a part of
that was like the
Judgment
kiss of
death. I could just hear you in the other room. Judgment Day.
Yeah, I said, who the hell is in the match, Rhea? And you're just like, oh, if that isn't
foretelling.
The foretelling of fucking us being New Englanders, but Brady getting safetied in the Super Bowl against the New York Giants as a fluke, to start the Super Bowl that year. Yeah. You just knew that was the omen that was okay. This is doomed. Right. But I didn't think it was doomed that bad. I mean, with the talent that's actually in the ring on this one, I said, this is probably going to be much better than more often women Money in the. This was the worst women's Money in the Bank period.
You have to shorten it to 4.
By far.
You have to shorten it to 4.
I agree. 5 max.
But 4. I'd say if we're going to do an odd number, then it should be 3.
A triple threat.
Or 4 max. That way if you got 2 on the outside, you got 2 on the inside, and you could just cut the cameras from one to the other, and there's something that's consistently going on.
It was like anything that you don't want to be highlighted in a negative way in a Money in the Bank match, all the pitfalls, was amplified so much in this women's Money in the Bank.
Was one
they had no recovery for any of it. The spots were sloppy. The spots were head scratchers. Some of them were absolutely ludicrous. The first one, Zelina getting stuck outside the ring with the ladder on her that weighs, it's aluminum. She's by herself. No one's holding it down.
Hold on. By the way, these ladders, in the UK, y'all ladders are super sturdy.
Compared to that, yeah, I know.
They survive splashes with backdrops on them. Kudos to you guys.
And then there was the spots that even with the men, you wouldn't want them to take. The spot with Zelina and Zoe, that sunset powerbomb.
Yeah. Ooh.
Wow. I'm not a big fan of Zoe Stark. I'll say it. Maybe she'll win me over, but I'm not a fan of her. I give her a lot of freaking credit for taking that spot because it's an unnecessary spot that could shorten your career.
I happen to be a fan of Zoe Stark.
That's good.
And even me being a fan of Zoe Stark didn't help me
terrible.
rank this match
And then,
any higher than a 1 count.
No. How often do I give a 1 count? This is very rare.
I think this is probably like your
second 1 count probably
Your
since we've been
second
doing
1 count.
this. But it was so bad and the other one was a women's match too. But this one was so bad. I mean, like, I'm a huge fan of Trish. I love Becky. I adore Becky. They were so off tonight.
You know what?
It was like watching them in slow motion when they had their spots. Like, Trish got to cut that fucking handstand Hurricane Rana, like, around the neck thing. Get rid of it. You're too slow on it. Becky had to stumble and run over to the turnbuckle. Not get flung. She had to run over and fall. Like, Trish was off in everything tonight that she's usually on. There was nothing to save for this except the ending was very creative. That's why it doesn't get a 0.
So, how did you like Cody versus Dom?
Yeah, so let's go. Cody versus Dom. I was super hyped for it. I'm glad they didn't go the way the dirt sheet said it was going to go.
How did the dirt sheet?
Dirt sheet said Brock Lesnar was going to interfere at the end of the match. So I was waiting for that the whole match. I'm like, okay, Cody's going to get a loss. I still wish Dom got the win.
Me too.
Even by sneakily methods. I don't care if the music hit or something really janky happened. Cody could have took the loss. Like,
how about this?
There's Superman in Cody right now.
How about this? If it went the dirt sheet said it was going to go, what about if... How about Dominic winning by disqualification or something?
Anything that would have gave Dom the win on paper, I would have been for, that he could have bragging rights for. That, I think, would have elevated it more. It was a good match. Cody doesn't put on a bad match. You're even like, wow, Cody's really, really good. Yeah, he is. He's fantastic.
What did I give this?
You gave it a 2. I gave it a 2.
Yeah, I think that's
I give a very rare Cody 2. But I gave it a 2 because it wasn't anything I haven't seen in some fashion on Raw with, the Judgment Day or whatever multiple times in the past couple months.
Yeah, that's true.
So, no. But then there's really not much more to say other than we didn't get Brock. We know he's coming. I'm guessing he'll be at Raw. That's what I'm guessing. He didn't want to go to London. He's like, I'm waiting for Raw. So,
what was the match before that?
The match before that was what you referred to as the match of the night.
There it is. Riddle and Gunther. And I'm telling you, hey,
so
listen,
good.
Gunther in the last 8 months is putting a catalog together of some phenomenal matches.
Clinic.
Clash at the Castle.
Yep.
WrestleMania.
Yep.
His Royal Rumble performance.
With Cody, yep. Owens on Raw.
Man.
Anyone he's paired with, 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, whatever, in a small, other than a tag match, anything that Gunther is the focus where he's facing somebody, it's gold.
Does he have a t-shirt?
Yeah, he has an Imperium t-shirt.
I'm getting an Imperium t-shirt.
And you said, on the ride up, well, it was my ride up to New York during Night of Champions, and now you got me home halfway. I mean, you got me the last hour of my journey. But when you referred to Gunther as the future, he is. He's absolutely the future. He's 110%. I mean, I would think, depending on if Cody takes it from Roman, Gunther is at least going to get the world championship within the next 12 months. There's no question.
Yeah.
But the match, fantastic.
Started off great.
Worked great.
Started off great. I think you can take this match out here. You can cut it and paste it in any of those classic memorable pay-per-views in almost any era.
Yes, it didn't feel like it was New Age or Attitude Era. It fits in everything. Gunther is such a unique character where he looks like a throwback, wrestles any style, and is just so good. He doesn't make mistakes. And Riddle, people forget how good Riddle is. This is like UFC caliber fighter.
Yeah.
And he's really good in the ring.
He's real. Yes.
And when you give him an edge to his character, like when he goes off, he's better.
Psycho Matt.
Yeah. When that mushroom top pops, he gets to another level. And his psychology was good too, because he came out with his foot taped. And when he landed, we're like, oh, I hope he and you're like, damn, you remembered to sell that. And he did do that. It wasn't Cody with an arm brace punching the shit out of things and not remembering that his hands hurt. Like, Cody makes mistakes too, but this is good. You gave it
match
a 3.5 count.
Oh, I went over. So
you did.
So listen, are we gonna change this? This is my 4 count today. This one's gonna be my 4 count. This is definitely my 4 count. I would definitely go back and watch.
Listen,
this
a 3.5 is so rare for you. You're gonna have a 4.
I gotta do it. I gotta live on the edge. I gotta live on the edge.
I gave it a 3. I gave it a solid 3 because I was waiting for the rest of the card, but I'm not mad. I'm still keeping it at a 3 because it doesn't come close to Roman and it doesn't come close to the main event for me. But it's a watch. It's a rewatch.
It didn't have the payoff as the main event. I completely agree. But I think that in my younger days in the VHS recording and trading, I definitely would have watched this back quite a few times.
Yeah, this is like one of the best mid-card matches of the WWE Attitude Era that you would go back to on a videotape. Yeah. So the next match was easily the match that shocked me the most throughout the night. The match before. I'm sorry. The match before, since we're going backwards in time. This was the one that shocked me the most. Like, I did not expect this outcome. It was the women's undisputed women's tag match with Ronda and Shayna versus Liv and Raquel, a returning Liv and Raquel. And I said to you, I was very torn in this because I'm a huge Ronda Rousey mark. I love her. She can do no wrong by me. But I really enjoy Liv, and Liv seems to always get her legs cut out under her when she starts getting momentum.
Wait, before you finish this is actually an interesting dynamic for you because you only really are in love and enamored with half of this match because you love Ronda, you know.
Shayna's good. I like Shayna. She's underappreciated.
Okay. So that's actually the nicest thing I've ever heard you say about Shayna.
Fucking Raquel, though, no.
Yes.
No. Just no. I'm sorry. No. I'll accept Liv being a champ for Raquel. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Like,
what do you have against Raquel?
She's oh my God, she's so uninteresting. There's no character development for her. I'm hoping it works. She was better in NXT. When she was the women's champ in NXT and she was like, you know, come out on the bike once in a while for the pay-per-view and like had that biker vibe and that badass chick, she was good. I think maybe she needs a heel turn, and that might be what gets me behind her. But I don't know if she can even get me behind her because I think she's a step up from Nia Jax as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not much of a step up because it just, I can't.
Wow.
But anyways, this match was one we went in. It was like you would have set your watch to it. You would have been like, well, this is like a 4 or 5 minute match. Shayna and Ronda are going to tear it up. They're going to retain. Heartbreak, but, you know, they're going on a tear through the women's division. I was utterly shocked at the outcome of this match. I think you were too. Did not see it coming.
I definitely didn't see it coming. I like the that Shayna turns on
Ronda.
It's very rare where you see heels just turn on each other. So
mid-match before the title's lost. That's
exactly
what sold this better. Usually it's they lose, they're pissed off, and then one turns on the other. You can see it coming. This was Shayna's like, I don't fucking care about these titles, and just cost her.
So the funny thing is, the crazy thing is, I have no idea when they go into the explanation of this. I have no idea who's going to be the
Ronda's going to be the face.
But Ronda was in mid-heel mode when she gets hit from behind.
I know, but Ronda's going to be the face. You watch, because there's no way on earth I could see. Well, I could be wrong. I mean,
because it's
50-50.
It's 50-50.
But it makes compelling TV, and it also is very telling to me that this is the last thing Ronda Rousey wanted to do. She's done everything in WWE that she wanted to accomplish. She said she always wanted to have Shayna be elevated and have those moments with Shayna.
Oh, that's nice.
So I honestly think you'll see Ronda do the favor to Shayna at SummerSlam. It's going to be a SummerSlam match.
Of course.
I think Ronda will lose, and that's it. I think she's on her exit, and that will elevate Shayna.
So as I see on your
I give it a 2.5.
You give it a 2.5 because of the moment?
Because of the moment, yeah. If I have to go back again, I'm going to give it a 2. You gave it a 1.5.
I gave it a 1.5. I mean, the moment was a nice cherry on top.
It really was.
It's not a bad 1.5, but I'm just saying, like wrestling wise.
Yeah, no, Ronda's had worse 1.5s from you. Ronda's had worse 2s from me. But this was great. This was something unexpected, and it was nice to be like, wow, I don't know everything going into this, because sometimes it sucks when you can telegraph everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I mean, hey, Liv and Raquel are doing well. Liv deserves to have some shine. I think she works better in a tag scenario. Raquel, like her being the little person to the big giant combination, I think it's a cool combo. I like how they, she throws Liv. She has some innovative spots with her, using her as a weapon. They're a likable team. I think they won't be very, very long, but they're a likable team. So I wasn't mad at it, and it gives us Shayna Ronda, which I'm very excited.
And now, because this whole recording was the personification of the last shall be first and the first shall be last.
That's right. The men's Money in the Bank.
Men's Money in the Bank match.
And this was interesting. This was, like I said, good choice for opener. I'm not mad at it. It definitely delivered. But it was a very interesting group of contenders. Usually a Money in the Bank, you're used to a lot of former world champions, one or two dark horses that are going to be elevated.
Yep.
And that wasn't the case here, and it was refreshing. This is what people refer to as a pick'em.
Yeah. This was basically equivalent to the Super Bowl being played with 2 wild card teams.
Yeah. Good call.
And man, LA Knight. LA Knight is just so over right now.
So he's so over. I was thinking about it just, after the show and during, he's going to get there without the briefcase if they push him. He's going to get there.
Come to think of it, what if they're saving him for the Royal Rumble?
I think Gunther's got his name on that.
Oh, man.
I think Gunther has got his name on next year's Rumble. But LA Knight, I think, will get there. Yeah. And I think you will get... That's what this world title is for. This new world title is for giving guys like LA Knight, Edge, other people opportunities that you are super important, but you're not going to take away from our marquee thing. Gotcha. Right? So LA Knight will be a world champ sooner than later, I believe. Inevitably, yeah, he will be. I wanted him to win it here. I think he would have done a lot of great shit with the case. I think it would have been entertaining, but...
So, real quick, because I know I'm going to forget. You talked about the Zoe Stark spot. Yeah. What about that Ricochet and Logan Paul table spot?
That was ugly. That was so ugly. Not even ugly in the way they wanted. It was ugly you could tell there was something was going to go wrong. They didn't put the tables flush together.
Yeah. Ooh,
I thought that little space caused a little bit of an issue. And I don't know. It went bad, and then it looked bad too. And Logan Paul, like I was saying through the whole thing, and that's Brady in the background, if you guys can't hear, was unbelievable because of how good he is naturally, just right away. And I thought that we were going to get the Vince move, F you, that's why we're going to give it to Logan Paul.
Uh-oh.
Yes, this is us being told to wrap up.
That's the SmarkTank mascot, Brady here. The little terrier telling us to wrap up and to play some Fight Forever, I guess.
And he goes out of reach, so I can't get him, and I'm tied to the mic, and he knows. Yup, and that's what he does. But anyways, that spot was ugly. You saw the slash on Logan Paul. He got cut open pretty damn good. Let's just wrap it up. Everyone did what they would do in a Money in the Bank. It wasn't the most memorable Money in the Bank.
I gave it a 2 count, right?
You gave it a 2.5.
I gave it a 2.5?
You gave it a 2.5, and I gave it a 3.
Oh, man.
In retrospect, talking about it now, I feel like I should change it to a 2.5.
Yeah, because I feel like I want to put it down 1.
Yeah, so you're going to put it to a 2?
Yeah, put it to a 2.
Okay. So, Damian Priest won it. Not mad at it.
Not mad at it
at all. Got some potential.
It's going to make Raw very interesting.
Yes, especially after Finn losing to Seth.
Yep.
Basically, he costs Finn because they referred to Finn costing Damian by accident.
Yeah.
So you're going to have dissension in the Judgment Day, and I think we're going to get a new member. Someone said that JD McDonough might come up.
Oh, wow, that'd be interesting.
So who would get out, though? Would it be Damian's the outsider since he's the winner?
Finn would likely be out because
That's
he's
what I
probably
thought.
the only one that doesn't really fit that group.
That's what I thought.
Well, all right, Brady.
But-
We agree.
We agree. Overall, the show was fantastic. WWE really hasn't missed this year since WrestleMania. No, I was going to say Elimination Chamber. That was a one-trick pony, though. That was the main event again. Yeah. But Backlash was fantastic. This was fantastic. Well, they're on a roll. SummerSlam's next.
Yeah, gang. Thanks for listening. This was Money in the Bank 2023.
We out.